Only presidential candidate who's consistently spoken out against the war in Iraq and also voted against it in 2002. The far right calls him a misguided peacenik. The far left calls him a hero. So much so that in a web poll of MoveOn.org surfers, admittedly liberal, he's beating Hillary Clinton by 7 points. The election, no, this election's not going to be won on the far right nor the far left. Most likely it's going to be won somewhere in the middle. Joining us now is the guy who wants to try and capture that vote, Ohio Congressman Dick Cheney. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with your bread and butter issue. It's Iraq. Vice President Cheney said today that he's willing to bet the Democrats will give in and end up supporting the war funding without conditions. What would you say to your colleagues if they do that?
First of all, I would say that Vice President Cheney bears a serious responsibility for the war in Iraq, and he will at some point have to bear constitutional responsibility for that. Furthermore, with respect to my colleagues, the Democrats have an obligation to end this war. We can end it now by pulling the plug on funding. There's money in the pipeline to bring the troops home now. The people of the United States did not vote for a democratic version of the war in Iraq, and that's why I say follow the plan I've laid out in H.R. 1234 that ends the occupation, closes the bases, brings the troop home.
So you're saying pull the plug now. So let me ask you this question then. Whether or not they capitulate, aren't they already playing politics by seeming to want to prolong the war up to now? I mean, isn't this a bit of a Machiavellian thing where they're saying, it's your war, Mr. President, and the longer we keep it your war, the less hazard, the less problems for us?
Yes, and that's why my presidential candidate gives people a clear choice for someone who, not just from the start, opposed the war, but did an analysis way back when that proved that the war was wrong. If the others had listened to me, we wouldn't have been in this war. The Democrats had control of the Senate, and yet Senator Clinton and Senator Edwards voted for the war. Senator Clinton, Senator Edwards, Senator Obama have voted to fund the war. We're in a situation right now where America must get out. We must bring our troops home.
So you're saying,
to do it.
So your point is no more politics, get to the business that you say the American people want them to take care of.
Look, we can't play politics with this war. There are people dying. We have an obligation to bring the troops home. And the money's there right now, and also to set in place a parallel process to bring in peacekeepers from the region and to have our troops move out.
Got that. You got that. But let me move on to this now, because this is a big deal for you. You're a staunch liberal, no doubt, liberal Democrat, but the warning bells that you sound come straight from Republican President Dwight D. Eisenhower. He warned of the military-industrial complex. He was the first to even use that term. You've been speaking out about this a lot lately. Make your case.
President Eisenhower was absolutely right, and he understood. Think about it. If the war was a money loser for Wall Street, would we still be at war? The fact of the matter is that this war has been of great profit to defense contractors, and that we're in Iraq and are looking at attacking Iran for the same reason, oil.
Okay,
the American people know this.
So listen, the Democrats have control now. There's an accountability issue with something
like
this.
You're 100% right.
But why aren't they doing anything about it?
You know, you're looking at the only member of Congress who opposes the war who voted against both the supplemental appropriation, $97 billion 4 weeks ago, that will keep the war going through the middle of 2008, and who voted against a budget which will keep the war going into 2009. The American people want a new direction, and my candidacy gives them a chance to reject war as an instrument of policy and to use diplomacy to achieve security.
Let me show you something now. I want to show you something that happened that Hillary Clinton had to deal with this weekend. Our viewers saw it just a little while ago. I don't know if you saw it, so we're going to give you a little bit of it again. This is a town hall meeting in New Hampshire where she's all but assailed for not following, really, your advice that you laid out in 2002 when you put out one of the reports on Iraq. Here it is. Watch this, and then we'll talk about it.
Did you read? No, I was briefed on. I was briefed on.
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell. She's saying, I read it, and the person says, how much did you read? Goes back and forth for a while. She's being criticized for voting the way she did and maybe not being prepared prior to the vote. Is that fair criticism?
Well, if she would have done her job, she would have known then what she knows now. And that is that we shouldn't have gone to war. I mean, I gave an analysis to members of Congress. Everyone who wanted to look could see there was no cause for war. But let's go beyond that. Now that she does know today what she didn't know then, she and the others are still voting for war, including Senator Obama, who says he opposed the war from the start and yet has voted to fund it consistently. My candidacy offers the only approach for Democrats who truly want to see an end to this war, who are looking for integrity and authenticity, vision, correct judgment. I think the American people want a new direction, and I'm prepared today to be president to give them that new direction.
Ohio's own Dennis Kucinich in our Sunday Spotlight tonight. We thank you, sir, for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
New Jersey